Okay, so well, good morning and welcome everyone to Australian Mango's information session for export to international protocol markets. So before we begin, I just wanted to just give a bit of housekeeping. If you could please all mute your microphone and stop your video during the presentation, that'd be great. Just to make sure we've got the best connection possible. If you have any question, please feel free to jump in at any time during the presentation. You can either unmute yourself or use the chat function. And if you have any technical difficulties, just let us know through the chat function as well. Also wanted to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel. And later on this afternoon, I'll be sending you a follow-up email with a quick feedback survey, and you'll also get the slides from today, which will have all the useful links and information. So, just the purpose of today, I guess, is to give growers and other stakeholders a bit of a refresher on the export process to international protocol markets. And then I wanted to also discuss some of the key issues we experienced last season with the online registration system. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So online, we have Galen Waterford and Michelle Reyes from the Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment. So they'll be able to answer any questions that you have for them. And we also have Jeff Scott from the Australian Table Grape Association, who is really managing the online registration system for us. So if you also have any questions for him, he'll be able to answer. So I guess to begin, protocol markets, what are they? They are countries that have an agreement with Australia prescribing the export requirement for a particular commodity. And for mangoes, we have 5 protocol markets. So we have Japan, Korea, China, the US, and New Zealand. And as you can see, they have different requirements. So for Korea, China, and the US, you will need to register your orchard and your packing shed. And you will need to be audited and approved by the department. You will also need to have an accredited crop monitor who will have to conduct crop monitoring from the beginning of flowering all throughout the growing period. Then in terms of treatment, so for Japan, Korea, and China, you will need to send your fruit to a vapor heat treatment facility. For the US and New Zealand, you'll have to use Steritech with irradiation. And for Korea and China, you will need to prove mango seed weevil freedom. But all these country-specific requirements can be found in the work plans and the protocols that are available on the department's MyCore website. So if you haven't got a login on MyCore, I really urge you to do so you can have access to all the work plan and protocols. So now for this upcoming season, some of the key dates. So we're having our information session today. So for Korea, China, and the US, you will need to register your orchard and your packing shed via our online registration system, and all the applications are due by the 23rd of July. So that's open, and you should have all received a welcome email from the system, so you can log in and start filling out your application. Crop monitors, again, the crop monitor training is now open as well. And all crop monitors will need to have completed the training and pass the assessment by, before they start their crop monitoring. So before flowering starts. And again, we'll talk about that a bit later through the presentation. Regarding audits, if you are new to export or if you were non-compliant last season, you will get audited before your season begins, and that will be the week commencing the 23rd of August. And if you were accredited and compliant last season, you will get audited during your season. And the dates are still to be confirmed once we get a better idea as to, when picking will start. We'll get the dates out to you, but you should receive an email and a text from the system and from the department, just notifying you of the date and time of your audit a couple of weeks beforehand.
Sarah, Annette, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a quick question while you're on that slide.
Mm-hmm.
With our Georgetown or Gilbert River orchard, they normally come before the season, pre-season. Yep. I know last year it was a bit of a muck up with the numbers. I spoke to Rachel, the auditor, about the export, and she said to me I'd have to submit a email to her, so just asking what the story was going to be with Georgetown, given its isolation. Would it be included in the pre-season ones? Yep. Or would it be because everything was fine last season, will they come during the season?
Okay, well, I think we have a few people in the audit team online, so we might take that after the webinar, Annette, and just talk about your specific requirements. So the online registration, so as I mentioned, it is now open, so you can log in. The link is the same as last year, and you'll be getting the link in the slide. So as I mentioned, you will need to register your orchards and your pack houses for China, Korea, and the US. So if you are only exporting to Japan and New Zealand, you don't need to register your orchards or packing shed through that system. It's really only for China, Korea, and the US. Registration is required every year. Your username would be your email address. If you have any issues with your login details, just give me a call or send me an email and I can reset that for you. If you are new to export, just contact me and I'll arrange for an account to be set up for you. As I mentioned, the due date for all the applications is the 23rd of July. And the cost is the same as last year, $220 per application. And you can pay online with PayPal, or you can download an invoice. So there is a step-by-step guide to walk you through the registration process. So I won't go into all the details of the export registration process here. You can just jump on the Australian Mangoes website and have a look at the step-by-step guide. It's very detailed. And if you have any questions, just give me a call or contact Sarah Hain as well if you have any problem. So now I just wanted to focus on some of the key issues that we experienced last season with the online registration system. So one of the problems we had was with the ABN. So please make sure that the ABN matches the company name and link to a trading name. So if your ABN links to, you know, a business name, let's say Mango Orchard, can you please make sure that in addition to your name in the grower name, you also add that business name? So you could put Joe Mango dash and then the business name, just to make sure that, yeah, we've got the ABN matching a company name. We also had a few issues with trust last season. So you are allowed to refer to a trust, but you will need to provide an ACN, and you'll need to send us a copy of your the deed. And that's, you won't be able to do that through the online system. So we'll have to do that by email. So you'll just have to contact me. Now, packhouse name, I just wanted to reiterate that your packhouse name will be the number, MP number. So if you are new to export and you haven't got an MP number yet, you can just enter any name and a number will be allocated to you. Now, last season, there was a bit of confusion with the accredited numbers. So every year, the department sends out a list of accredited entities to China, Korea, and the US. And that list only includes your block numbers and the packhouse numbers. And these numbers can be found on the accreditation notice that you will receive once you're accredited, and they'll be in that table. So the format for your block numbers will be M, a number, dash, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, however many blocks you've registered. And then your packhouse number, the format for that would be MP and a number. So that member number at the top of your accreditation notice is really for internal use only, is the number we use to manage your application in the online registration system. So you shouldn't use that on any label. And to avoid confusion, we will be removing that member number from any communications that we send out. So it's really the only numbers that matter to you are your block numbers and your packhouse number, and they will look something like that. So for example, you have M99-1, M99-2. So these are your block numbers, and then your packhouse would be MP01. So that 99 and 01, they might not be related, but these are your block numbers, and these are the numbering convention that we're using. So unless you have exported to the US as part of the pilot program, all your block numbers should be looking like that. So for those growers who have been part of that pilot program for the US, some of your blocks may, some of your block numbers may look a little bit different, and you'll need to keep those numbers as they are. But any new blocks that you'll register, they'll need to follow that, that convention. So M number dash 1, 2, 3. So I hope that's clear. If you have any questions on your accredited numbers, please let me know. There was also some issues with labeling requirements for Korea. So I just wanted to here provide you with an example of what is required for Korea. So you will need to display for Korea in capital letters on your label, and you'll need to add your farm or block number only. So you shouldn't add your packhouse number or the VHG facility number either. It's only the block number. And that I just want to note that that example is for the protocol side of things. So Korea might request some other additional information that are not related to protocols. So you might need to add, your packing date or variety. But for the protocol side of things, you only need to have for Korea and your block numbers. You can't add your packhouse number or your VHG facility number. So for any information regarding labeling requirements, it's all in the work plans and protocols. So you can jump on My Core, log in and have a look at the work plans and protocols, and you'll find all the labeling requirements on there. If you have trouble logging in, just let me know, and I can send you the protocols and work plans for the relevant country. So are there any questions on the actual online registration system, or can I move on to audits? No, you're all good. Okay, so as mentioned, if you were not accredited or were non-compliant last season, you will be audited before your season starts, and that will be the week commencing the 23rd of August. However, if you were compliant last season, you will get audited in season, and those dates are yet to be confirmed, but you will receive an email and a text notifying you of the date and time from the online system. Before your in-season audit takes place, the department will conduct a desktop audit pre-season so that you are accredited and are allowed to start exporting fruit before your face-to-face audit takes place. So you will receive a notice of accreditation via the online information registration system. So at audits, this is a list of some of the required records you will need for your farm and pack house audit. So please make sure you have all the documents required with you at time of audit. So if you have got, different orchards and different packing sheds, and you are getting audited on different dates, just please make sure you have those records with you where at the location you are being audited. And again, all of those informations, all this information is available online via the Plant Export Operations Manual on the department's website. So you'll get access to that link in the slide. Now on to crop monitoring. So the training for crop monitors is open, and it's a new link. So that link is available on the Australian Mangoes website on our homepage, or you'll also be getting that link in our slide here. So that training has to be completed, and the assessment needs to be passed Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. Are we all good there? Yeah, okay. So yes, so that training needs to be completed every year. And the quiz needs to be, so you need to have an 80% success rate. So the quiz is 25 multiple choice or true false questions. So we'll need to get at least 20 questions right to pass. So please make sure that that training is completed and the assessment passed before you start your crop monitoring. So before bud burst. And if you are employing a crop monitor, please make sure that they are accredited before they start monitoring on your farm. So you can download a certificate of completion online once you've passed the quiz. I also wanted to note that for your audit, you will need to have that certificate with you, and the crop monitor will need to be there as well at time of audit. So the crop monitoring record, so we have templates available on the Australian Mangoes website. So we have templates for each of the countries, so for China, Korea, and the US. And there's also a form that combines the three markets. You can also find those templates in the work plans for each country. There's on the online registration system, you also have the option of uploading and saving your record in there in your application system. It's not compulsory. It's really just for you if you need a central location to save all those records. For some of you last year who exported to Korea, you'll be aware that because of COVID, Korea couldn't send an inspector. So instead, they requested all the crop monitoring records to date. So it was a couple of months worth of records. We're not sure yet, but the same thing might happen again this season. So to make it easy for Korea, could you please ensure that you, in addition to your own numbering system, could you please ensure you also include your accredited block number in there? That's just to ensure that Korea understands where those records are coming from. I also wanted to reinforce the fact that if you've got 3 blocks registered, you need to do crop monitoring on those 3 blocks separately. You can't merge them. So yeah, please make sure that if you have 3 blocks registered, you conduct your crop monitoring on these 3 blocks separately, and you list them in your crop monitoring records separately. So do we have any questions from anyone for Galen and Michelle from the department, or for Jeff Scott? No? So if we have, if there's no questions, I might just ask Jeff to maybe quickly give us an update on the online registration system and some of the improvements that will be made, not for this season, but for the following season. Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Maureen. Most of we are going through a major upgrade of the system, but a lot of that is in the back end part of the system where there'll be a more secure user face and more security around the system itself. One of the changes, small changes, is that in the detail section there was, in the slide that Marine put up, was postal address. That will actually change now to property address because the department wants the actual property of the details. You did mention about trust documents. The system does have the ability to upload documents. So if you wanted to upload your trust documents into the system, that can be done, and obviously the department can access it and read that, so that might save some time. As far as the pest monitoring records go, there is one in the system. You can download that, and that is pre-populated with all your blocks. So all you need to do is fill in the details and then upload that into the system. So the changes that will come into force, as I said, a lot of it is in the back end to create a more secure environment, and it might change the look and feel of when you get the application next year. But that'll all be for the better. The other change also for the following year is that you will be able to roll over your registrations from one year to the next. Now, look, when we first set up this system, so about 6-7 years ago with table grapes, we had something like, we do get about 4,000 registrations, and a lot of growers were very complacent and they just ticked the box roll over, and it caused a lot of issues because table grapes, there's a lot of redevelopment, a lot of new plantings, a lot of new varieties, and the growers weren't checking that, and it did cause a lot of issues. Hence, we removed that. But we are going back to having rollover capabilities, and that will happen in the next year, not this year, unfortunately, for mangoes. So apart from that, I said the changes that will be made are all very much back end and for the department's benefits. You probably won't see much of that, but there'll be more, as I said, a more secure environment for everybody. Happy to take any questions.
Great, thanks, Jeff. So there's no question for Jeff. Galen or Michelle, is there anything you would like to add? Or anyone from the department, from the audit team?
Hi, Marine. It's Galen. Yeah, sorry. I don't think anyone from the audit team is online, but just want to just let you know, just to reiterate, as you said, we will be doing pre-season and in-season audits. So pre-season if you're new or if you've had a non-compliance, or in-season audits if you were previously accredited. However, for those in-season audits, you may get audited pre-season. Depending on how many new growers are in your area, we might need to, our audit team might need to make up some numbers to make it worthwhile to sort of get out to your farms. So you might receive an audit pre-season rather than in season. But our audit team will keep you updated and aware of when they will be out to audit your farm or your pack house.
Great, thanks, Galen. And as I said, you will receive a text and an email from the audit team via the online registration system. And I'll keep an eye out for those notifications. So I can also, I will also follow up to make sure you have received those texts and emails to make sure you're aware that your audit is coming up.
And I also just wanted to mention, when you were discussing the accredited farm and pack house and crop monitor requirements, when you go to the department's website on our plant export operations manual, we've got guidelines for each of the farms, pack house and accredited property guidelines that are outline all of the requirements that you would need that outside the actual protocol requirements. And we've also got performance standards, which are essentially just what we will be auditing against. And they're very good to have a look at, because then you'll see they'll outline exactly what we will be looking at when we come out and conduct those audits. So they're very useful tools for you as well to have a look at.
Yeah, and that link is available on the Australian Mangoes website, but it's also in the slides, so you'll get that and you'll be able to access those manuals. All right, well, thanks Galen, thanks Jeff, and thanks everyone for attending today's information session. I hope it was useful. Annette, we will get back to you for your particular situation later today. And if there's no further questions, we'll finish here. Yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Maureen.